peep the fit, peep the fit. Ooh, I look like a model, a potato-headed model. What to do, YouTube? Today I have a really good video that we are going to be reacting to. This is 8 Thanksgiving horror stories animated. I was saying it was not going to be that long, and then it ended up being like 20 minutes per video. So make sure you do like and subscribe. Let's just get it. Let's just get it.
This is my first time posting this story anywhere. I hope you can learn from this experience and apply it if, God forbid, this were to ever happen to you. I work for a company that forces me to travel a lot. I usually fly, but because I know how crazy airports are on holidays, I thought it would be a smarter decision to rent a car and drive home overnight, avoiding the nightmare that would be an airport on Thanksgiving week. I started the drive home, and even though I was a little tired, I was able to cruise from about 11 p.m. until 3 a.m., as there were barely any cars on the road. Shortly after 3 a.m., I saw a van that was sideways in the middle of the road on the highway. Thankfully, I had my brights on and was able to see the vehicle with plenty of time for a safe stop. There was also an elderly woman near the side of the road who was waving me down. Cautiously, I slowed down and came to a stop. The woman walked up to my window, motioning for me to roll it down. I rolled it down the slightest bit, making sure even her hand couldn't get in the car. In an old, cracking voice, she said, "Young man, can you please help me change my tire?"
I need more water.
I glanced over and saw that she did indeed have a flat tire. She said to me again, "I ran over something and my tire became flat almost instantly," and motioned to what looked like a piece of plastic in the road.
Number one, what's she doing up?
I got out of the car and walked by
the middle of the night.
Said she needed to move it to the side of the road for safety. I told her that there was no way we could change a tire in the middle of a highway in the middle of the night. She agreed and moved it out of the road into the side of the highway. As I began to change the tire, I had a million things running through my mind. Number one being, why did I have to be the one who got flagged down? I was almost finished taking the flat tire off when I noticed I didn't see the woman anymore, as I was providing my own light source with my cell phone, and looked up to ask if she could assist, and she was gone.
What?
I looked all around the vehicle and didn't see anybody. Nothing but pitch black darkness other than my headlights, which were providing some light in the general direction. Well, lucky for me, I had my keys in my pocket and locked my car door when I got out. I walked back over to my car, and the woman was there trying to get into my vehicle. I told her to get away from my car before I called the police.
What?
She laughed at me and said it would be at least 30 minutes until anyone showed up to where we were.
No.
Just as I was trying to get this crazy
I would have fought that old lady.
I noticed a man get out of the van. He must have been laying on the floor because I didn't see anybody sitting in the seats when I walked by to begin the process of changing her flat. The man seemed to be of average build. He started to approach me, his hand in his pocket, which really started to make me worry about my safety. The woman then jumped on my back and attempted to choke me. I was able to shake her off quickly and elbow her directly in the throat. She began to cough and gasp incessantly, which gave me the break I needed to get away. The guy who was approaching us devoted his attention to her, and I got in that car and sped away as fast as I could.
Oh my gosh.
I had never driven that fast in my entire life. The adrenaline from the events fueled me for the remainder of my trip home. I know if someone else told me this story, I would ask, how dumb can you be, and emphasize how idiotic of a decision it was to get out of that car. I'm just glad that I was able to get out of that situation unharmed and get home to my family. After police reports were called, I unfortunately never got any further information. I wish I would have glanced at their plates. That may have helped in identifying them later. And please let this be a lesson to everyone out there. Trust your instincts, especially in situations that can affect your safety.
Big facts. This is why I don't go outside. This is why I don't go outside. Okay. Next one.
This story may seem more weird than truly scary to many of you. At the time, I didn't really find it scary or terrifying myself. I didn't really get that feeling until I shared this with others and got their perspective.
Okay. I just wanted a moment to appreciate the fit. You feel me? I look cute. Oh. Okay.
I'd be interested to see what, if any, comments any of you have regarding this experience. This event happened with my ex-girlfriend on Thanksgiving about 6 years ago. For the sake of anonymity, we will call her Kay. I met Kay in college, and at first, she was great. We shared similar interests and hobbies. We clicked instantly, and for the first time, I was excited to meet the parents of my significant other. I was going to meet them on Thanksgiving so that everyone could have dinner together. Kay never really mentioned her family, so I was excited and intrigued when she asked me to join her for the holiday. Fast forward a week or so, and Thanksgiving finally comes. I make the 2-hour drive to her parents' house, and my first thought as I approach the house is, wow, this place is huge. It was a gigantic brown mansion. It was very large, but also looked very old. My best comparison is if you have ever seen the movie Clue. The outside of the house looked very similar to that, a mix between mansion and castle almost. I knocked on the door and almost immediately was greeted by a strange-looking guy.
No.
He was short, like 5 foot flat. He was bald and wearing an eye patch. I said, "Hey, is Kay here? I'm her boyfriend." He just proceeded to look at me and didn't answer. After a few awkward seconds, Kay walked over and happily greeted me and let me inside. As we walked away, she said in her soft voice, "Oh, don't mind him, that's just Eugene. He's like, I guess, kind of my uncle." Kind of weird way to put it, I thought, but whatever, I didn't think too much of it. As we walked through the house, I was blown away. I'd never seen anything like it. The ceilings were really high and the walls were covered with religious iconography. I wasn't raised with religion, so some of the images were foreign to me. Kay and I arrived and sat in what I assumed was the living room. There was no TV, no radio, just couches and some paintings all over the wall. The paintings seemed to cram together, trying to fit them all on the wall. An odd choice for such a nice home.
Yeah.
After a couple of minutes, her parents walked in. Her dad was clean-shaven with wild flowing hair and glasses that were just big enough for his eyeballs. And her mom had long black hair that went all the way down to her back and reached her legs. It looked like they were in their mid-60s if I had to guess.
Whoa.
I was introduced and we made small talk. It really wasn't that bad. There was no awkward pauses, but her parents were not what I expected. They seemed a little strange or eccentric, I guess.
Yeah.
While the 4 of us talked basically about school, Eugene came and stood in the doorway and began watching us. After a few more minutes of talking about school, her dad got up and said he had a surprise for us. He walked into the other room and brought out a lime green stereo boombox that looked like something straight out of the 90s. In his almost comical voice, he said, "This one is for you two. I hope you like it. It used to be Kay's favorite." I looked at Kay and she was smiling. I can't even imagine what my face looked like. Confused, surprised, however that translates to a face. He pressed play on the stereo. Music began to play and her dad started to dance with her mom. The music, if that's what you would want to call it, was the weirdest thing I had ever heard in my entire life.
No.
It was just like banging of instruments. Very untuned instruments and other loud noises that honestly sounded like animals.
Bro, animals
leave. The song that was playing were the movements of her parents. They just hopped around and were moving their bodies like they were puppets on strings or something. Thankfully, this only lasted a few minutes and we all sat down to dinner.
No.
Of course, the dining room was no different than the rest of the house. There were paintings and religious images all over the walls. We ate dinner in a combination
When
of
you say
silence
religious
and
images,
Dad talking about politics and religion and how they were separate yet similar. I basically just stayed quiet and ate my food, which, looking back, was pretty unconventional for Thanksgiving dinner. After the meal, we went back into the living room, and that's when her father told us he had one last surprise for us. In his high-pitched voice, he shouted, "It's now time for our annual Thanksgiving Day celebration." As I sat on the couch and tried to process what that could possibly mean, I noticed that more people were walking into the room. There was somebody dressed as a scarecrow, a teddy bear, a lumberjack, and one other that I think was supposed to be Jesus or something.
It is clipped. I'm not staying, bro. I'm not staying, bro. First of all, first red flag was the dude.
The religious figure. This is when I decided that I had had enough crazy for one night and had to get out of this place. I got up and announced to everyone that I had a family emergency and that I had to leave unexpectedly.
There you
I
go.
apologized and thanked them for everything thus far and said how happy I was to have met everyone. They all looked a little confused, especially Kay. They shared their happiness in meeting me and their enjoyment of the night and wished me well on my drive home. As I drove away, I looked through my rearview mirror. I saw Kay and her parents waving goodbye to me from the doorway. Where to begin? This is the weirdest, strangest few hours of my life. I am obviously no longer with Kay, and I honestly am not sure she even came back to school after that because I never saw her in person again. We texted for a few days after the event, and she acted like everything was normal. I broke it off before holiday break was over, thinking it would be easier to do so before I saw her in person again. I swear part of me thinks I was on a hidden camera TV show that night or something.
Gotta feel like
Does
that.
anyone from a rare religious sect know if any of this is a common tradition? Or was I just in a house with a bunch of crazy people on Thanksgiving?
That's exactly right. Listen, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm just a third party observer. You feel me? I have no real input, but that's some weird, bro. Wouldn't be me. Anyways, make sure you do like and subscribe. If you guys want another part 2, let me know. You feel me? I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Like y'all gonna catch me in the next one. Peace.